China stole the F-35, then built this, March 2016, a federal courthouse in California. A man named Su Bin stands before a judge and pleads guilty. Not to hacking, not to traditional espionage, to something more damaging than either. For 6 years, this aviation consultant had directed the most devastating theft of American military technology in history. F-35 engine schematics, radar designs, stealth coding formulas, the software algorithms that make the aircraft invisible to enemy radar. 50 terabytes, $400 billion of American taxpayer investment, handed directly to the Chinese military. He got 46 months. China got a stealth fighter. And today, that fighter is flying combat patrols over the Taiwan Strait, landing on Chinese carrier decks, rolling off production lines at over 100 aircraft per year. And it looks in ways that make American engineers deeply uncomfortable, almost exactly like the jet whose blueprints were stolen. This is that story. This is Dogfight Docs. Part 1. The Spy. Su Bin was not a shadowy intelligence operative. He was an aviation industry consultant based in Canada. Unremarkable, professional, with deep connections inside the aerospace supply chain. That access was exactly what made him valuable. Working with hackers connected to China's People's Liberation Army, Su Bin spent 6 years identifying targets inside the F-35 contractor network, directing cyber operations against specific company systems, and translating the stolen technical documents into intelligence reports for Chinese military officials. He was not just stealing data, he was delivering a roadmap. The F-35 program's supply chain was his attack surface. The aircraft was built by hundreds of contractors and subcontractors across multiple countries, many of them small companies with minimal cybersecurity budgets. Each connection point was a vulnerability. The hackers found them systematically. Once inside a subcontractor's network, they moved laterally through connected systems, accessing data far beyond the original entry point. What they extracted included detailed radar system specifications, precise engine heat management methods, critical to maintaining stealth, and the software algorithms that define how the F-35 manages its radar cross-section from different angles. Su Bin personally translated thousands of pages of technical documents. He prepared analytical reports that explained not just what the technology was, but how it worked and how it could be replicated. In one communication, cited by prosecutors, he described the stolen information as allowing China to rapidly catch up with American stealth technology levels. The Justice Department confirmed the case. The guilty plea is documented. The theft happened. Su Bin was sentenced to 46 months in 2016. The information was already gone years before he ever set foot in that courtroom. Before we go to Act 2, if you are finding this valuable, please consider subscribing. It takes just 2 seconds and genuinely helps this channel keep making content like this. Thank you. Let's get into the spy story. Part 2. What China built. In 2012, China unveiled a stealth fighter called the FC-31, later redesignated the J-35. Aviation analysts around the world studied the images. The reaction was immediate and uncomfortable. The nose configuration matched the F-35. The overall fuselage shape matched. The weapons bay layout matched. The landing gear design matched. The cockpit geometry matched. Not in the approximate way that two engineering teams solving similar problems might arrive at similar answers, in the specific way that suggests working from the same source material. The J-35 flew for the first time in 2012, just 5 years after major cyber intrusion operations against the F-35 supply chain began. Indigenous development of a stealth fighter from scratch typically takes 15 to 20 years minimum. China did it in 5. That timeline is not credible without the stolen data. The J-35 is now fully operational. The naval variant completed electromagnetic catapult launch trials from China's carrier Fujian in 2025 and was officially confirmed as part of the PLA Navy fleet in September of that year. the first fifth-generation stealth fighter to operate from a carrier using electromagnetic catapult launch, a capability America does not yet field on its own carriers with the F-35C. The land-based J-35A entered PLAAF service in late 2025 and was displayed at the Singapore Air Show in February 2026 as an export product. China is actively marketing a fighter built on stolen American technology to nations that cannot access F-35s. Pakistan is in negotiations. Customers across the Middle East and Africa are being courted. Price point around $50 million. Positioned explicitly as a low-cost F-35 alternative. America spent $400 billion developing stealth technology. China stole it, built a competitor, and is now selling that competitor in markets where American fighters have historically dominated. The economics of the theft are almost as alarming as the military implications. Part 3. The J-20, the threat that grew beyond the theft. The J-35 is one product of China's stealth program. The J-20 Mighty Dragon is the one that Pentagon planners describe as the more immediate strategic problem, and its development went considerably further than anything that could have been copied from F-35 blueprints. The J-20 is China's primary air superiority stealth fighter, large, twin-engine, optimized for long-range intercept and strike missions in ways that differ significantly from the F-35's multi-role design. It entered service in 2017, and China is now producing it at a pace that reshapes every numerical comparison American planners make. Satellite imagery analysis presented at the 2026 Air and Space Forces Association Symposium estimated J-20 production at 100 to 120 aircraft per year. China's combined aerospace manufacturing expansion totals more than 8 million square feet, described by analysts as larger than the entire F-35 production complex in Fort Worth, Texas. America has 186 operational F-22 Raptors. Total, the entire fleet. China is producing J-20s at a rate that would surpass that number in under 2 years, and the J-20 keeps evolving. The J-20A, the latest variant confirmed in testing in early 2026, integrates the WS-15 engine. Analysts describe it as producing more thrust than any other fighter engine currently flying. New composite materials, revised canopy reducing drag and improving stealth. The aircraft is genuinely developing with each production batch. The J-20S is the variant that raised the most eyebrows internationally. A twin-seat stealth fighter, the first in the world, officially debuted in September 2025. That second seat is not for a traditional weapons officer. It is for a drone operator, commanding autonomous AI wingmen from the cockpit while the pilot handles the aircraft. China fielded a manned-unmanned teaming stealth fighter before America's own collaborative combat aircraft drones completed their first flight tests. Let that land for a moment. The PL-15 missile carried by J-20S has a range widely estimated at over 200 kilometers. The AIM-120AM RAAM that American fighters have primarily relied on has a significantly shorter effective range. In a beyond visual range engagement, a J-20 armed with PL-15S can shoot from distances where F-35S cannot return fire. This specific range gap is one of the primary drivers behind America's AIM-260 development program. J-20S are deployed across all 5 of China's theater commands. American F-35 pilots have confirmed encountering J-20S over the East China Sea. It is not a prototype. It is not a demonstration project. It is operational, it is improving, and it is pointed directly at American air power in the Pacific. Act 4. The numbers that should keep you awake. Here is the picture as it stands right now. China is producing over 100 J-20S per year. Estimates suggest 320 to 350. J-20S were in service by mid-2025, with production continuing to accelerate. The J-35 and J-35A have entered service simultaneously, making China the only nation besides the United States currently operating 2 distinct types of stealth fighters. The J-20S drone directing variant is flying. The J-36, a large 6th-generation prototype observed in flight testing, is in development alongside a smaller 6th-generation prototype designated J-50 that reappeared in test flights as recently as March 2026. America has 186 F-22s, a growing F-35 fleet. The F-47 projected for operational service by 2029 at the earliest. The J-20 is not definitively superior to the F-22 in any category where a direct comparison can be confirmed. American pilots who have observed it operationally note that its stealth optimization appears more frontal aspect focused than all aspect. Engine reliability questions that plagued earlier variants may persist. It has never been tested in actual air-to-air combat. But here is what is not in question. China has built a credible stealth fighter force at a production rate that creates genuine numerical pressure on American planning, combined with the J-35 on carrier decks, the J-20S drone capability, the PL-15 range advantage, and an industrial base expanding faster than any Western competitor. The aggregate represents a strategic challenge. American air power has not faced since the Cold War, and it started with a man named Su Bin, an aviation consultant, a federal courthouse, 46 months. Conclusion: Su Bin stole the blueprints. China built the aircraft. Those aircraft are now operational, evolving, multiplying, and flying where American air superiority matters most. America's answer is the F-47, a 6th-generation fighter that, if it delivers on its promises, will be beyond anything China is currently flying. But the F-47 will not reach combat squadrons until 2029 at the earliest. In the gap between then and now, 186 F-22s, a fleet of F-35s, and the knowledge that the technology inside one of them was handed to an adversary by a consultant in Canada who got less than 4 years in federal prison. The theft happened. The aircraft got built. The question now is whether America's response is moving fast enough. Subscribe to Dogfight Docs. Drop a comment below on whether you think America has done enough to respond to China's stealth program. I will see you in the next one.